Hi, I got too much time on my hands this morning. I think this is a really important subject which can cause, well, it's probably controversy, um, but my type of neurodivergent doesn't really mind that so much because the only way I want to live my life is through my truth, and don't want to be afraid of talking about it. I want to talk about school absenteeism. Is that a word? Is that a word? Um, and being neurodivergent, and the way I find the education system is crippling neurodivergent children. Um, and when I watch the news and I see their sort of campaigns to get children back into school, because it's getting more and more the absenteeism, it really concerns me because I know from my own experience and my kids' experience that school with us, well, my oldest son anyway, being neurodivergent was a horrendous experience. I think some are quite lucky where they've got a good supportive school, because I hear some of those stories now, and some people actually move to go to a better school, and some things are in place. But I hear way more stories of it being difficult. So I'm just really hoping that you've got a good school sourced, or your children are okay in the system, and they're getting listened to. Um, it really concerns me when I see in the news and the government and when they're doing the campaign, because in my opinion, this is all my opinions, um, there can be the effects of, isn't it, COVID, and the fact that they're working from home and then they don't want to go back in school. Maybe that is the case. But I know for a neurodivergent child, the problems for some neurodivergent, because some might be okay with school, but for some neurodivergent was there before COVID even came along. So when they're trying to say, well, it's down to this, I just find that I know for a fact that some neurodivergent children cannot do mainstream school. They just can't, and they're being forced into it. And I think the understanding within the education system and the funding, I suppose, isn't there. Somebody needs to come up with something, because neurodivergent children are missing school and missing education, and they have so much potential, but they just can't do the setting of school. And because there's only so much funding in certain councils, they can't afford to have a tutor to come to the home for each individual child. Who they want everybody to go to a school setting, and then they always worry about the social aspect. This is such a big weight I find put on the social aspect, because I mean, like, any kind of uh, exposure to things can create resilience, can't it? And all those kind of things. I know that, but I think for the neurodivergent child, it has to be quite carefully done, because otherwise it can become a trigger and a main issue, and then even just the smell of a place will cause a problem. So it's I have lots of concerns when it comes to um for some. I mean, for being pushed back in. Um, I know of somebody who they tried for a year to get a child to be heard at the school, and then they had to deregister because that parent was going to get in trouble, because their child wasn't attending school, and just it was an awful decision. but they had to deregister because they weren't being heard, and they weren't realizing that when a school day was consisting of two things that were big that day, say swimming in the morning and swimming afternoon, was too much for the neurodivergent child, and they couldn't understand it in the school that was too much. I do have concerns about the way it's being handled, and I understand to much as I can the difficulties that teachers are having, because I don't think they're under a lot of pressure, and unfortunately I think the numbers and going into the school because it's becoming more important than this child is actually not coping. And I know there's lots of teachers out there who are really good and who notice that and probably feel like their hands are tied because of requirements. But I know for a fact it will not change. And I know for a fact that there will be more and more people who can't send their kids to school because they can't cope in that environment. And it's not fair. I think what I've seen with my own eyes is the suffering of some kids, and school has created a trauma for them, and I've had big concerns about the future of their mental health, trusting people, because it can be not easy for a neurodivergent, because when we stand out and we're different, we can become a target, can't we? Although I think this vein of it becoming trendy, because like in society's fashion, isn't it? Then I find that some people are thinking, oh right, okay, it's kind of cool in some ways. Do you know what I mean? So it was weird, isn't it? Society, it can do that sort of thing, but I am really concerned about schools and school life and the pressures of from above and the way they say about absenteeism, because I haven't heard any of them mention the part of the absenteeism that's a problem with school is because of neurodivergent, and because those kids can't cope with school life the way it is. It needs to alter and change. And I always kind of go, oh, they're acting like a child is deciding not to go just through choice. And it's sort of like they need to be told what to do. But a lot of children I've seen, it's not choice, it's survival. And that is a big difference, isn't it? Okay, just thought I'd do a video on that, my concerns. Okay, bye. Oh, has it got? Oh.